It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose. But by them understanding through those who have become Messiahs, to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, the path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness. By giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to become arrogant in the power that you have understood and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees, that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of the president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look through our soul, we see nothing but the star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community. To be there to serve, to expand. To be there, to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life, in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle. Which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Welcome everyone to the 282nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, June 27th, 2019. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute and part of the public teachings in English. I'll be your host today, Rick Crammond, and along with Flint Mulhausen. And as always, we are joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who I understand has some rather major announcements today to bring forth. And so without further ado, let's get into today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you ready to go?
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever and wherever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers series of teachings. It is nice to be back. It is nice to be able to bring good news and more news that the technology and the Keshe Foundation is reaching in new dimensions, new positions. And in so many ways, we all collectively are reaching our goals. It might somehow look a bit rough. It might sometimes look out of the reach. You might get some hiccups, but overall, the whole thing is looking the way it should be in so many ways. They say, if you have patience, you can do anything. And people around me, they know I have a patience of God knows no. I can wait. I can tolerate. And in so many ways, I react very fast to some things because it needs to be reacted fast. But other things you have to allow it to, as we say, to mellow, to mature, to reach a point. Making peace for the race of a man who's been in conflict for billions of years, from jealousy to the other partner, and jealousy from funds, and jealousy from what we call physical, material life, to trying to change the man in 10 or 20 years. It's not an easy job. It's very difficult, but we have passed milestones step by step, all of us, one by one. We brought new dimensions, we brought new knowledge, we shared new knowledge. In a collective way, we all participate in it. There is no one here who can say, I did it, it's mine. And we see many of you, once you show something or discuss something, you think you're the owner and everybody has stolen from you, where you don't think where did you get the knowledge to be. So you stole from us, but we don't consider that way. We consider your soul is not mature enough to understand the partnership, the sharing of the knowledge, the sharing of the technology. And as you heard last week, and we announced this, and already today we have received, for the last few days, other positions that are major groups who would like to become part of the Keshe Foundation Global Corporation as incorporated, the stock, what we call pink sheet market in the United States. We are delaying this for another week or so till we sort out our side. And the announcement of the opening of the trading will be announced in American Stock Exchange. We are proud of what we have achieved. We are proud in a way that collectively we have managed to bring the technology in a dimension that it can be valued by mankind. And we are looking at the share values beyond some of your imagination. We, in the process of the shares, once they offered, you cannot on purchase to trade in it for 2 years, which allows the technology settlement agreement, what you call pricing arrangement, to be done. The team in the United States will announce the share value processing in next few days, maybe a couple of weeks. And this will be offered to all, as we say, insurance companies, traders around the world, and any Keshe Foundation supporters who want to be part of this. You go through the normal procedure. We do not announce anymore till it's released because of the legal position we stand as owners of the company. As I said, I purchased the company on behalf of the Keshe Foundation some couple of years ago. It's part of the investment I've done for the foundation. Even though carries and bears my name, it belongs to the foundation. And in due process, as we settle the different arms of the foundation, the Keshe Foundation operation will be transferred to the arms appropriate to run these kind of operations as we are moving our head office into the nation of Malta. In so many ways, we operate and will mature to the point of maturity of all of us to be benefited by it. The organization and the company in the United States will stay independent of the Keshe Foundation organization, even though all the intellectual rights of the foundation will be used. In the way, we'll benefit by its development around the world, but after paying all the taxes to all the nations we operate on, after we pay our taxes on employment we create in the American, what we call North America in United States, then this what we call the surplus will be transferred to be spread to be used by all the needs of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. The structure is very clear. We pay all our taxes according to the nation we operate on. We pay, as we've seen, the best wages, the best way of living for our staff. While I'm here or on my passing, it'll be the responsibility of the foundation. My philosophy for 40 years in business is Those who make the finances, those who make them what we call company run, this should be the beneficiary first, not those who use it because they already received the benefit. The policy of the Keshe Foundation Global Operation, once those of you who are here or in the future become part of the structure of running it, has to be that workers, people working, supporting, come first. Is no use creating a sweatshop, paying people little that you make more profit that others can enjoy what the others suffer. This ethos has to go out of the man's blood. Those who create the wealth has to be the beneficiary of the wealth. This is the principle, the ethos of the Keshe Foundation. This is how I run my businesses for decades. It's not something just because it's the foundation. So in the coming weeks, when we start structuring Keshe Foundation globally as manufacturing companies, the workers, those who work around us, have to be paid that they have a decent life. We are not saving from one to pay to the others, that we pay taxes, that we collect money, that we spend it somewhere else. You always look after the home first, and this has to be the policy and the structure of the Keshe Foundation Global with a management team which has been put in place. In that process, as I said, we invest heavily in Arizona in the coming time. We invest in the United States in the space development, and I have started transferring knowledge to America. In past week, we have transferred unknown knowledge to the United States in a way that represents the Keshe Foundation and not necessarily the administration. It has to be understood that the Keshe Foundation as a nation, as one nation, works within its own ethos and its own structure. It's important for all of us to understand that when one of us succeed, all of us succeed. When one of us fail, the other help not to become a failure, or we learn from it that no one suffers. In this process, as you understand, to set up the Keshe Foundation global operation, that it allows us all to work together to bring what we imagine can be. It took a lot of planning, it took a lot of work, a lot of people in the background have worked. And as we said, we gave you good news. We have become part of the American or international market, and we have a value. The value of the Keshe Foundation has been valued. Our asset, our knowledge has been valued. And we know how much we're worth, and this price is escalating in the past month. I thank the Chinese community. I thank the whole of the Chinese community who have kept this secret very tight in the past month. Today, we announce a major breakthrough in the work of the Keshe Foundation. In a way, we have reached the ultimate goal, and I take silence and will let you see and understand what has happened to Keshe Foundation. We have become the most powerful scientific organization on this planet. And we have the force, we have everything to show for it. Stanley, can you play the recording, please?
Okay.
This is thanks to all of you, and you understand why. Go ahead, please.
The knowledge of the universe is part of us. It was given to every being as we are part of the Creator, and the Creator is us. The Keshe Foundation was created to become an oasis of universal knowledge and the place where the science meets the soul of the man. Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, the founder and director of the Keshe Foundation, has set humanity on the path of peace, teaching us all that there are sufficient and abundant resources available to everyone without the need for abuse of other beings for the benefit of one. It all started with one man and his comprehensive research, shared within smaller groups of people at the Keshe Foundation Center, and soon expanded to an entire community of knowledge seekers working in the direction of peace. In 2014, following the nuclear disaster in Fukushima, a complete blueprint teaching is released with information on how to decontaminate radioactive environments. Live broadcast of the decontamination is made from an independent laboratory in Japan, proving that the technology works. In 2050, Magrav's blueprint teachings bring to life the possibility of harvesting plasma fields that are found freely in the environment as continuous sources of energy needed for space travel. The Peace Blueprint, Spaceship Blueprint, and Agriculture Blueprints follow. KFSSI education has expanded since to teachings in over 18 languages, spreading the new Keshe Plasma science and technology to every corner of the world. Keshe Foundation Wikipedia was created and is building up with the support of the community. The first plasma science journal that accepts Keshe Plasma scientific papers without peer review became a part of the monthly Keshe Foundation publication, KF Plasma Times, already reaching its 12th edition in June 2019. All this time, Mehran Keshe has openly invited all the world's governments to join the Keshe Foundation in the ethos of peace and equality to learn the path to the universal community. The Keshe Foundation Manufacturing Austria, active since 2017, has been working closely with the Chinese Research Center. World-leading plasma scientists with intrinsic motivation work around the clock with their heart and soul to develop and improve the plasma products. Research and development in Austria confirm the power of the Keshe Plasma technology and encourages the team to follow the vision to be a valuable part of the worldwide network of communities with the aim of establishing peace on Earth through the benefits of Keshe Plasma technology. The research and results presented in the past months confirm the correctness of the technology, which cannot be ignored. In China, high-scale trials have been conducted and validated for their results. In October 2018 in China, the processing of diabetes was brought to the public, where the person's eye could not open and the diabetic wound on the leg would not close for 3 months. In only 6 weeks, with GANS plasma processing, diabetes was reversed, and with it, the eye and leg wounds recovered as well. In China, the agricultural trials showed an early maturing time of wheat processed with GANS water. The rice, millet grains, beans and corn processed with GANS water showed an increase in size and higher resistance to plant diseases. The end of 2018 revealed the success in processing African swine fever using Keshe Plasma technology in China. In November 2018, the first pig in China was processed, saving its life after months of suffering. The second case involved 30 pigs that recovered entirely. The third case in China consisted of 829 pigs that had confirmed from the laboratory blood tests as being infected with African swine fever. The pigs were dying until the research team intervened and started the GANS plasma processing, saving 725 pigs and bringing them back to a healthy condition in only 7 days. All the work that has been done by the Keshe Foundation teams has the purpose of bringing humanity in line with the universal community, to be able to travel the space of the universe, to be able to handle defense systems in deep space, to be prepared for any unpredicted situations, and to be able to sustain a healthy and comfortable life during space exploration. After all these years of hard work, the Keshe Foundation is proud to invite you all today to celebrate, as knowledge seekers, the long-awaited milestone. It is a day when we make history. It is the day that many generations after us will remember as the day the future of humanity changed. These undoubted successes worldwide and in China have brought the Keshe Foundation a partnership with the most powerful nation in the world, the Chinese nation, establishing the first joint company in partnership with Chinese government organizations under the name Keshe GANS Technology. The new company, which is financed by the Chinese government organizations, has a registered capital of 100 million euros and invested capital of 1 billion euros for building the first Keshe Foundation industrial zones in China. Furthermore, by written agreement, the Chinese partnership has made available billions of dollars for total development and commercialization of the technology in China. Keshe Foundation, as equal 50% partner in the established company, will provide the technology and the science, while all the financial, economic and political support will be provided by the Chinese partners. This is to start the construction of the Keshe Foundation industrial zones in China. Each industrial zone will provide all that a nation requires according to its location and needs. The clear proof of technology has brought the leading nation of the world to back and finance every aspect needed to spread and commercialize Keshe Plasma science and technology in China and worldwide. The state-of-the-art construction of the Keshe Foundation industrial zones provided by the Chinese nation will include the development and application of every aspect of the Keshe GaNs technology, with GaNs manufacturing facilities and the addition of technological divisions needed by the nation, including agriculture, health, decontamination, energy, transportation, and space travel, etc. It is the wish of the Chinese leadership to spread the wealth and expertise of the Chinese nation to other nations of the world through the One Belt One Road initiative of His Excellency President Xi of China. Keshe Foundation, with its technology and its industrial capabilities which are now financed by China, will support the initiative of the President in delivering the same to other nations through the cooperative between Keshe Foundation China and the One Belt One Road program. With this joint collaboration of the Keshe Foundation Technologies and One Belt One Road initiative, nations will not be burdened with debt. Instead, this alliance will bring to the nations the possibility of growth and development equally via the One Belt One Road initiative through science, commerce and education. As this announcement is being made, a number of countries are in negotiation and a memorandum of understanding is being signed with Keshe Foundation for this purpose, leading to the construction of industrial zones in their region. The Keshe Foundation, in conjunction with the Chinese partners as financing arm, was setting up the Center of Excellence in China for scientists from all around the world. There will be up to 5 main research centers outside China, and at the same time, China has become the Center of Excellence for space technology. The initial structure is established to bring the most eminent world scientists to expand the Keshe Foundation plasma technology. There are no limitations on the financial side from the Chinese partners as long as we bring new technologies, new sciences and new applications for peace. This is the peace dividend. There is no need for any nations to spend money on arms for killing, but there will be sufficient financial backing for saving lives and developing new technologies. In the coming months, Keshe Foundation industrialization will expand beyond anyone's imagination. Most nations will become food secured at national level and will be able to produce their own products, their own materials. New industrial machinery for the Keshe plasma technology is to be developed in China, bringing a new cycle of jobs to produce systems that allow farmers to achieve large-scale production in agriculture. We will build and achieve the same systems for environment, medicine, transportation, space and materials. We are opening the doors to the new science, and thanks to the office of His Excellency President Xi of China, the Keshe Foundation has been given the opportunity to move forward. A new industrial revolution is here. This is now becoming possible as the Keshe Foundation received a powerful ally in China, standing alongside the true knowledge and supporting further developments to bring a prosperous and fearless life to humankind. We are looking forward to making one nation in structure by spreading knowledge and technology. As one structure, we are very powerful because for the first time the power of changing our lives, looking after our health, looking after our agriculture, looking at the clean water, looking after our shelter is in our hands. The change is here. The change is now. Celebrate with us the new beginning for mankind. Keshe GaNs Technologies Limited.
Thank you very much. Now you understand the change of the course for all of us. The backing of the Chinese government, the financing of the development and commercialization in billions of dollars, which is signed and now the companies has been registered and has started, will give all of us the opportunity to see the change. We started with a small prototype factories. We started a small work. We shared knowledge so openly that nobody could imagine. There is no need for patent. There is no need for anything else. The beauty with this technology and what we have received as backing of the government of China is that there is no patent registration. No one asked us, do we carry the intellectual rights, because they know the whole world carries. And for a nation like nation of China to support such a technology buries the intellectual right property for all and once, and that's done. Because what we produce in a factory in Kenya, what we produce in a factory in Arizona, what we produce in a factory in Beijing or another point on this planet belongs to all of us. The way it's planned to be done, everything will be run on one central organization. We merge the American structure with the Chinese structure. We have taken shares and part shares in each other that allows us to transfer intellectual rights right across this planet. The whole structure will be owned within two parameters of United States and China. And this allows us to benefit from both sides. We don't take sides on the politics. We don't take sides on who says what. We take sides, as I said in the video, to bring these unruly children under understanding there is no difference amongst them. And I thank the Chinese government and the Chinese leadership to support us the way they have done. It took time. We had to show we are correct, our technology is credible, and with you keeping us in front, this has brought everything possible for all of us. What does this mean? This means very, very simple things. This means that from now on, all the structures which is going to be set up is shared by all the Keshe Foundations worldwide. This means that from now on, whatever we have, we share knowledge, technology, and we finance it. The way we have it structured, and you will see in the coming time, you come up with a technology, you come up with a way that it benefits mankind, you become part of it. We have no limitation, and I repeat, we have no limitation in finance, be it from the space side, to manufacturing, to testing, to validating, to commercializing. If you understood last week, I explained that we don't accept different standards. We will set up one standard because Keshe Foundation worldwide will become the standards. How we produce things and how it will be done. Most probably, as it's a human habit, some of us try to bend it, some of us try to break it, but at the end, in general, we all benefit by it one way or another. As I said, I thank the Chinese community. I thank all the Chinese Keshe Foundation team have worked relentlessly in past 18 months. Good time, bad time, the same outside China. We all stood because we believe in what we do. And the only thing was missing was to have a powerful nation behind the technology. Now we have. Now, very soon, we'll carry with us the government of the United States. You will understand soon when I explain in a coming time. We are here to use the technology to create peace. We are not looking for anyone to finance us, that they can bend and condition us. We already finance to what we need by the nation, which is asking for nothing but to spread the technology. If you are in business, you know how hard it is even to raise 10,000, 100,000. The cash, as is on the, what we have told you in the video and what you see, is in the structure, in the mandate of the registered company. 100 million euro capital cash, 1 billion finance for just the beginning. This is just to start. They never put any condition, who we can share with, who we cannot share with. This is the beauty of a nation who's progressive and peaceful. Is not looking for whatever you want to call it, tariffs and everything else. This is for a nation which is progressive. You have a nation of China. You have a leadership who understands the time of nitty-gritty and division has finished. As I said many times, we stay loyal to the nation of China. We stay loyal to the administration of Chinese government. The same, we do the same with the Americans. But each one have to understand the time of all this killing and wars now is finished, because we will not manufacture anything which harm one single soul. Somewhere down the line, somebody might think he can use it, but it will not happen. And this is the beauty of it. Today's announcement is not an announcement. The company was registered on 29th of May. Now we're at the end of June. In past 1 month, we've done everything, setting things up, getting things sorted, all the other things which comes with a new birth. We're still going through teething of all sorts of things, but we don't need to wait for financial commitments. The commitments are made, everything is on the move. And on the back of it, as the Keshe Foundation Global is a shareholder of it, is the Chinese operation of the Keshe Foundation, this billions of investment gives a massive value on the shares of the Keshe Foundation Global operation in the United States. Now you understand what I was exactly explaining. In the coming time, any ways we can will support to keep everything totally under control of the Keshe Foundation. As you heard, and as you can see in the company registration, Keshe Foundation is not a junior partner, we are equal partner. And for a nation to back billions and accept the technology to be equal, where usually scientists can carry only 30% of the shares and the rest is in the hand of the financier, the Chinese partners accept the technology worth more than money. And this has given us a balanced, unheard board of directors, which means we sit equal partners. We don't accept conflicts, we find a solution, and with that solution we progressively go forward. The structure of the management of the Keshe Foundation in China is set on how the whole structure of the future of the Keshe Foundations worldwide should set, where any point of conflict is avoided. We work towards one point, one direction, and receiving equal respect by the most powerful nation in the world on the board of directors. It means the technology is so correct that they see it, and it's the first time such an investment has been done by any nation in a brand new technology. We bring massive changes in the operation of the Keshe Foundation in the next 6 to 12 months. We have no limit for financing. As long as we keep to our work, and as long as we develop technologies which brings prosperity to all the nations of the planet. There is no restriction from our partners. The only restriction comes from us, that we have to educate ourselves to understand the new technology. Teaching is free, research has been added. All the spread of the knowledge and technology in a massive way with different nations has become now part of our work. Now the foundation has been valued. Our technology has been valued tens of billions of dollars because it's paid for, it's valued to be set up for. This is important because what we all have achieved is the goal of peace. And today we announced the establishment of the organization, the structure, what we call the Great Peace Organization, which means we look through this new development and what we set up in the United States across this planet, that we aim for the great peace, for world peace. And we have set up the structure for it. In the coming time, it will be financed to be set up as a multinational organization to replace the United Nations in conjunction with the Universal Council and Earth Council. Universal Council will carry many burdens from all languages and all parts of this planet. And today, I welcome our Hebrew-speaking Universal Council, which has been accepted to become part of. So we have no difference between the languages of the world. We have the Farsis, we have the Arabic, and today we have the Hebrews back. I welcome him, and I hope as an ex-soldier and a high-ranking officer in the Israeli army in the past, he understands the pain of the loss. and he carries this knowledge across the border to Palestine. This is our job. Now we are not aiming, we are not hoping, we are operating. The space program will take a new shape on the full control and supervision of Chinese government, which means the space will be used totally for peace application. You will understand a lot of new things will happen in the coming time. One of the things which will happen, the Keshe Foundation journal, the Plasma journal, Plasma Time, will take a new dimension in scientific evaluation and release of papers. In the July edition, prominent, eminent scientist papers will be published in the journal. Most probably will publish 2 or 3. We'll give you the history of the scientists. These are the leading scientists in the world. They are what we call the elite, and their papers will be published both in Chinese and in English, that we understand. You should understand what we published, what I spoke about, zero temperature and everything, a couple of weeks ago, is in conjunction and explaining what these scientists have written and done research. The same as we did with the medical, where we used to have a doctor explaining what we call the medical aspects, the present world of health, and then we explain the look and the knowledge from the new plasma technology. The same thing will be done. We publish a paper which is brought by the Iranian scientists, and we answer to the question, as we said last time, about conformation of change of light to what we call particle. With the Chinese papers, we have answered in the same kind of teachings, but now their papers will be published. You will get the eminent scientists around the world publishing their papers unconditional. We do not peer review. In July edition, you will get one of the first papers ever seen that will be discussed in July in China with the world scientists. That the first time will be published in Keshe Foundation journal. So we're bringing credibility and strength into the foundation by the scientists who support and understand the work of the foundation. We release, we reprint scientists who would like their knowledge, their papers to be brought back to public that is used by other scientists. So in so many ways, I have brought you your dream to reality. Creating a structure that no nationality matters. Bringing a structure that it puts us on the path to peace, the great peace. This is what we're looking for. You can collectively start organizing, if you like to work with that direction, at Great Peace at Keshe.Foundation. This organization, we will structure it to take over the work of the United Nations. And then we'll understand how we can collaborate to structure it through members of the Universal Council and the Earth Council, and we'll support it to mature in total. I have given a commitment to the Chinese government upon signing and completion of all the other parts of the agreement, will take China to land on the moon within 2 hours flight from Earth within the first 6 months. Will guarantee to the Chinese will take manned crafts within 12 months from that point onto the moon and beyond. The limitation of a space technology is not that we didn't have. The limitation was we didn't want to, because it was easier to do other things. On the other hand, when we spoke with the organization of the conferences, which will come up and you will understand, 2-3 days conferences, where 2 days of conferences given by the government to the Keshe Foundation to explain the totality of the knowledge, you will understand the Keshe Foundation scientists will be admitted, doesn't matter what nation. But there'll be a lot of objections from other nations, which we have to solve this problem. This is our problem. So the Keshe Foundation scientists represent the nations who others try to ban, but Keshe Foundation scientists are considered as part of one nation, and they'll be represented. This is a breakthrough for all of us. I thank Ahmed beyond imagination. He's working relentlessly to get his part done. I thank Wang Lin in China. She has worked relentlessly to see the whole process goes through smoothly. The people are named very much like what you know. In Chinese organization, we have that they have been there non-stop in past 18 months. We have people like Chao, a member of the Universal Council, who's been there relentlessly supporting, doing their work. We have Xiaojin, who has taken the responsibility of all the agriculture in China for Keshe Foundation in interaction with industrialization. We have people like David, who has supported relentlessly with the space development, and is kept loyal to supporting the organization. We have people like Fanzo, who has provided all the facilities and materials as much as he could to see the things happen. There are a lot of unnamed heroes in China, as much as we have unnamed heroes across the earth. We have Rick, who's been there all the time, and others standing in more or less what I call relentless work of Ella. And we have seen how Caroline has been there day and night, pushing everything through one way or another to keep the foundation in front. We have received the financial backing with the support of you by the most powerful nation on this planet. And the beauty of it is, no question asked. As long as you develop to lead to prosperity of China, we provide. As long as you develop
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Did we lose the connection there, or is it just on my end?
Yes, we lost it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bear with us, everyone, while Mr. Keshe.
can you hear me?
We got you now. Thank you.
Moving from one to another. I told you there are a lot of people who do not like to listen and to hear. Oh. Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Better. As I said, a lot of people would not like to hear what has just been announced. And it is beautiful in what we have achieved. And I thank this voice. We can hear you. You've been there for past 6 years. He hears all the time. Thank you very much, Rick. Without your support, we would have been most probably not at this point. You made sure every day is there, every Thursday and every other day. Thank you for your work. I think it's time to hear from the head of the Keshe Foundation, as I'm a servant of the foundation, and we have chosen, we have appointed a leader. She's taken everything, time, working day and night to make sure I can carry on with my side while she's carrying on with her work. Ella, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Keshe. Hello.
Can we hear from you about the news we received last week?
Yes. What I can say is that since we joined the Keshe Foundation as a Keshe Foundation team, we have been looking forward for milestones like this, and we can't express how happy and proud we are that we are finally having the most powerful nation backing the technology so that we reach to the goal that we wanted, and that is to bring the peace in the world and to bring stability and safety for every soul on this planet, to bring the equality and to stop all the negative emotions, all the wars, to stop all the things that we actually don't need to grow as humanity. What we need is to evolve and to go further in space, to explore, to meet other nations, other civilizations, and maybe one day, if we are worthy souls, that we can also teach other civilizations in space the way you have taught us, that we can also show them the path we took, where we were, and where we reached. And I truly wish that all of us reach this peace inside our soul, that we can radiate out with everybody together. So what I want to say is thank you very much for everybody that stood with us. Thank you very much for everybody that is teaching this technology worldwide. I know that there are many people who are giving hours and hours of their time to spread the knowledge, and we appreciate very much everything that everybody is doing to contribute to this movement that you have started. And thank you, Mr. Keshe, so much for everything that you are doing. You practically gave your life for the foundation, and you gave your life for humanity. And we can only hope that we can reach to that level of unconditional giving and to carry on the work wherever possible. So I really hope that all the nations in the world will follow the lead of China and will join into supporting technology and literally giving everything for everyone and receiving back in the same way, because it's just natural to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ella, as the head of Keshe Foundation.
Whoops, hello, Mr. Keshe.
He dropped again, yeah?
Yeah, apparently. Okay, I'll bear with us another minute here while Mr. Keshe reconnects at his end. I see that Stanley has put the email connection for the Great Peace at Keshe Foundation. Is it Keshe.Foundation? I see it. Put my glasses on there. Just to be clear, Keshe.Foundation. And I'll post that in the live stream as well.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay, as I told you, many people would not like to hear what is said, but that's their problem. If any of you has anything to add to this, then we go to the next section of the teaching.
Mr. Keshe, there was a question from Doug McDonald about, is the Keshe coin different from the stock market shares?
Yes. Keshe Coin is part of the Keshe Foundation structure. And the stock exchange is part of the international operation of the Keshe Foundation. And we try to keep everything very clear and very direct. And in so many ways, we try to proceed, because now there are many, many subsidiaries of the Keshe Foundation which will come into operation. You got to understand, the structure is so big that the foundation, work of the foundation, now runs into different aspects of administration, manufacturing, research, development, coordinating all the research centers, that the ethos of the patent goes out of the what we call the market. The setting up of the company is now outside and inside one nation, that this tariff business goes out of the window. We see structures that we try to make all the nations self-sufficient in all aspects of the foundation needs. So we see a lot of changes. We'll see a lot of what I call misconducts in past few months, with the Americans pushing tariffs on Chinese, and then the same company moves to Mexico, and then they move the tariff to Mexico, and we've seen the mayhem. We've seen this mayhem which has been produced by what I call mischievous children of this planet. And this we try to stop. And the setup is for this to stop. We are committed to our peace, we are committed to our work, and now as one nation and standardizing everything else, stop all this, what I call the work. The structure is set to make one nation, be it in the space, be it in structure of understanding the totality of the knowledge and sharing the knowledge. We still push for peace. And today, as I said, we announced the establishment of a Great Peace Organization, which is what we call GP. And this job will go under the whole structure of our work. How we see it, how we develop it, how we extend to it. Can you hear me? Am I clear? Or do you still
yes, we had an echo there for a bit, but I muted your alter ego self there on the panelist. I muted one of you.
Because we're using two systems. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're putting two systems together to cover. In this process, we change a lot of things, and gradually it's a process of learning. We have a very strong, what we call a Chinese team of advisors who tell us how they see, what they see, the way they see. We have to move, and they bring the expertise, and we bring expertise from other nations with us that we go equally correct. As I said, we're pushing for great peace, and many of us, many of people at this moment of time have many worries what's going to happen to the Middle East, what's going to happen between Iran and the United States. The hidden knowledge which I will open up today, and it's important for us to understand why suddenly in the past week we've seen change of behavior in many things. This process has started months ago, but they don't listen. These two children of the Keshe Foundation, one in Iran and one in the United States, are still ramping who's more powerful, who can punch heavier. We saw last week, as we were doing the teachings, that the Iranian showed the knowledge how they can take out an American plane, what they call, whatever they call it, a drone, a flying object, something which was running. And then after that, we heard the president saying he changed his mind the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This is all gamesmanship. And to us who receives knowledge on the edge and information on the edge, and we work inside both governments, we can tell you and explain a lot of truth what has happened. I have to explain to you that this knowledge has already been shared with the Chinese administration and government. So it was thought that it's going to be used as a bank card in the G20 by one of our children, that he's more powerful. And it's my job to explain exactly what happened. You can record this and pass it to all the news agencies around the world. They understand. We released this knowledge to push for peace. This is the Keshe Foundation knowledge, and it's inside what we have as a part of the world administration. This is not something which is outside. And if we push for this work, is because we would like you to understand. We saw in the past 2 months, the Iranian government officials announced they have 2 technologies, and Americans were after both. What was the space of Iran, and one was the defense of the rockets, which we saw. I'll explain to you what has changed. Americans have found one of the game of other child, not the second one. What happened last week? This is the pattern. I hope our American administration on the line understand. This is not a bargaining chip you carry. We're talking about peace. This is the Straits of Hormuz. What happened? Last Thursday, Iran, to be safe, has over past months, has mined their territorial waters, and they know how to get in and out of these waters. We saw 2 weeks ago, a ship called Mason came in to understand the power of the Iranian naval force. That was a test, and they got the message that Iranians have technology to cover, but they covered them. This was deployed to understand part of Iranian technology. It was done deliberately to enter. We kept quiet about this. What we saw last week was another part of the same game. The Americans flew 2 planes parallel with each other. One manned, one unmanned drone. They flew the manned plane into the Iranian territorial parallel line, still claiming to be, and along it came the manned 25, 28 members on board. This plane was carrying jamming device security development system, which meant they were looking to see how Iran will hit this target, the drone. The drone was a sacrificial lamb. It didn't go in deliberately. Iranians had 2 options, to hit both or to hit the unmanned. But the Iranians were not aware that the manned aircraft parallel flight was carrying the most sophisticated systems in the American arsenal to detect how Iran logs into these drones and brings it down. So the American got the code of decoding the Iranian military defense technology. The 10 minutes, 15 minutes was just a game. Then we saw the next step, that American the next day announced they are going to do the whole jamming of the Iranian cyber attack. The cyber attack was to see what they found out on this flight works jamming the Iranian system or finding to block the Iranian system. In a way, it's a game after a game. And we saw again, the following days, they sent a drone over the Iranian nuclear site to see if it can be detected. And once they were sure they got the air under control, they announced now they do a high-level bombing. But there is a tail on this very stinging tail. Iran has announced 2 technologies. My American children, you have found the first one. You found the easiest one. There is a stinking tail on the second one. As a father, I advise both of you before you do anything, because the option, what we said, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, still stands for both nations. Now you understand why suddenly the American administration even made a threat against the religious leader of Iran, the head of Iran. Is like putting a threat on ban on the Pope or the head of the Israeli synagogue or church or whatever you put it. So now you understand how the game was played, and all the rhetoric you heard is all talk. Just realizing one jam. They've been after this for years, and they think they have. What we understand from inside our intelligences that it will be deployed, it will be reversed. They're working on it, the same, both sides, trying to upper hand each other. But Iran still holds a second card. Go back 3-4 weeks ago, the Iranian head of military announced we have 2 unknown technologies. Americans have found 50% of one. They do not found the totality of it. But my call goes again to the American administration. reach peace talk without killing. The rule still stands. I apply to it. There is one advice to the American administration. If you decide to bomb the Iranian Natanz plant, I have a bad news for you. This is my ancestral ground. This is where my blood comes from. Think twice. Talk peace. And understand you come to an agreement at G20 for both Iran and North Korea on a nuclear development. We have granted, we give a green light for negotiation. We are prepared to negotiate both from the American side and the Iranian side to fit the nuclear, to fit the international law. There's one thing we have to understand. Once you start a nuclear chain, you cannot stop. Iran produces, as part of the work which they've done, they cannot withdraw the nuclear reactors which are operating. They continuously produce nuclear material. So 300 kilograms will be passed, and there are rules and ways to do it. But there is one thing. The technology number 2 supersedes nuclear industry. Iran has been keeping America busy with nuclear because that's the level of their intelligence. I do not want to see American bodies to be carried out of Iran back to America, as much as I do not like to see Iranians to be carried to the graveyard. Because I know what sits in the Iranian arsenals of space technology. We always warned in my teaching in the past, the only way Iran's defense technology and thing will be opened up if somebody sells us from inside, and that man's been found. This is the same process. What I advise the American administration is to reach an agreement in G20 to make it GP, not G20. We're looking for great peace negotiation. And I advise the American administration very clearly, the same with Iran, the same. No killing, find a way to discuss and find a solution. There is something you do not know. And as I said, they call it the Natanz. Natanz is 7 kilometers from where all of you know me as Kesh. This is my ancestral ground. Natanz touched, I am touched. And I believe in the ethos of Christ. I from lie to word. I hope I'm very clear to both sides. I think it's time for the Iranian administration and government to stop playing games, as much as rhetoric coming out of the White House. We are looking for His Excellency President Xi to take charge of international affairs and bring these 2-3 nations all in line. Iran, North Korea, in negotiation for good behavior from the United States. I cannot be more any clearer than what I stated. Where the water of Iran Natanz Research Center comes is from the ground I own as part of my inheritance. It's given to me by my ancestors, by my father and my grandfathers. I don't like to see any cousins killed in Iran as much as in the United States. The peace talk in G20 has to avoid any killing from now on. Americans thought they got away with this and nobody knows, but now we understand they don't have any upper hand to play. They found the radar technology of Iran. This has been transferred to the Chinese administration around about 72 hours ago, in detail. So they would not spring a surprise on President Xi in a conference. The only thing left is how we negotiate to bring peace between all nations. Somebody's microphone is open. It is important for all of us to know, as we stood to enjoy the fruit of technology to be commercialized by all nations everywhere, at the same time, we stand for direction of peace. Sharing knowledge. No borders. Transparency to help each other, does not matter what color or race we come under. As I said, there is no need for nuclear technology. As much as the Americans think they have found a way that they can do what they like, but you have to understand the Iranian nations are chess players. Exactly where you think you're safe is exactly where you're vulnerable. And I cannot emphasize anymore. If you like to cut this past 10, 20 minutes of presentation, pass it on to newspapers and press, you're quite welcome. Americans will be surprised. But the problem doesn't come with this. The problem comes, how come and how we as one nation going to use these new opportunities of finance, collaboration, to create conditions for peace. We have to stop this weapon rat race, that who makes it stronger to become more powerful. Now the strength comes out of collaboration, not separation and division. We see a lot of moves because the Belgians thought now with the American position they have upper hand. We received a very strange letter from our lawyers yesterday. They're asking us to send them a blank letter signed by both me and Caroline, that they fill it in for the European Court of Justice. If we have any lawyers, I want to know if this is legal, or does it show that our lawyer has been working with the Belgians all the time? This is a very interesting point. I've never seen this. We have it in black and white, and we've been asked urgently to sign a blank piece of papers that they can fill in what they like in it. If we have any lawyers, we rely on your advice. Is this such a thing being done, or I think it's not, doesn't make sense. But as I said, we play or appeal to the European Court of Justice in open arena to Keshe Foundation. When a lawyer who has tried to defend us and has always gone the Belgian way, we've never submitted anything for us to court, now is asking Caroline and I to give them a blank piece of paper signed by both of us for the Belgians to take to European Court of Justice. What do you think they're gonna do? So we have two choices. We sign the paper and send it to them, or they won't appeal to the European Court of Justice because they didn't receive the paper. So we are asking for our international lawyer team to take over from us. And we release the paper. This is against any law, and it shows collusion in so many ways. As I understand, when we told you how it's happening, now you see it in the. This is important for all of us. We would like to know how we can stop all this madness. How can any of us be able to create a condition with the knowledge we brought for peace than using the knowledge to kill and cause so much mayhem? The interesting point for us is as follows. How can all of us from now on, and with the finances which has become available to us to spread the knowledge for peace, spread the knowledge to create more comfortable life for all of us, can use this new technology from now on for a peaceful application? It is absolutely important for all of us that we all understand. As I said, I transferred the knowledge of the space technology in past recent time to United States through making aware the soul of the man who was carrying the knowledge for him to see. Because when we speak through the soul, not the physicality of the man. And so in the coming time, all of us should benefit from the peaceful application of this technology. It takes time. It's not a magic wand. We have to come to the point as we have come, not to see the pictures of a father and child on the river trying to get to freedom, where actually they become prisoners of life. When I look at these pictures in past 24 hours, I think what would have been more suffering for these two just to go somewhere to be safe? Where is the responsibility of the nation to take everything to their nation to make it safe for them to be where they are, not to be in the hand of the rivers? It is our job as a Keshe Foundation to change the course of humanity with what we have in hand. It's going to take time. It's not going to be tomorrow. There is a lot of cleaning up to do, not only in the Keshe Foundation, not only inside the operation of the Keshe Foundation, not only in our villages and in cities, but the whole of the humanity needs to take the next step. It'll come when, as I said, and you heard in the broadcast, that we have started negotiating with governments to finance, to bring these technologies to them. We are approaching them. We want to invest. What are your conditions for receiving our gift? And what do you provide that makes it easier for us to gift you, that you receive it in good health, in a good package? The way it's structured, the Keshe Foundation is like in Kenya, like Austria, like in Italy, will receive an estimate of tens of millions to set up factories, the latest the technology present time can offer, in conjunction and with the science of plasma technology. We are not cutting up everything, we know everything. We need a time of transition to build on. The investments in Arizona will be in hundreds of millions of dollars in the United States. We are committed to humanity irrespective of race and color, irrespective of language. And this process has to be carried out by all the members of the Universal Council. As I said, it took me 10 years to set up the Keshe Foundation, and when it was time to move on, I handed the management to a small group. They manage. I hardly attend any of the meetings because it's not my place. Now I have developed what I call the industrial part, where actually every man can feel the change in the water they drink, in the air they breathe, in the land they walk on, in the space they travel in, that they are brought in with the full knowledge and safety of their own knowledge and what they have learned through the understanding of the work of the foundation. And in due course, I will resign from this position too, because my job is very simple. I'm here to guide, to develop new technologies, as long as my physical body is here to take man to the next step as far as man can take. And then from then on, my job is done. So very soon, in what I have structured as the head of the new structure in China, Keshe Foundation, the structure scientific side, and in the United States and in Iran and rest, will push, I'll resign. I step down in the next few months. And I go back to my life as a scientist and developer of technologies. So all of you who want to carry this ethos, you better learn very fast that it's for you and your children to start structuring the world peace. To achieve great peace needs a lot of great peace inside. And this is what my job will be. I have devoted my life to peace and structuring it, and no man has ever managed single-handedly to do what I've achieved in past 20 years, unless it was done by wish and at my command, and as messenger to achieve this time with my own hand, that there is no mistakes. It's your job to start taking over the foundation structure, but with pride, not with cheating it. We've seen a lot of misconduct in past years. These all will stop, has to stop. And the beauty of it is, stop bickering. Stop fighting each other, who's doing right, who's doing wrong. They are there to do wrong because with their wrong, good things will happen. Not bad things. You think you're right when you're 100% wrong. So in a way to them, you are wrong. Try to understand, respect each other's point of view, and understand with this technology will come, because it's my wish, mankind will serve only. And the strange thing is, while he's serving, he's getting served. As I said to my child, he says, how is this possible? I said, you know something, it's like a car driving and already having a fuel tank stuck to it. The more you drive, the more you get filled up. Do you want to stop? And this is what you want to receive. Our agreement and the company set up in tens of billions of dollars with the support of the most powerful nation on this planet allows us now to look forward to achieve world peace through spread of knowledge. In a way, if you look at it, why we saw all these tariffs, why we saw all these fights on copyright, intellectual right, was to show that the time, end of time for these things has come. And this is the beauty you share. And in the coming time, in a very short time, once the structure of the older teaching is set up, we'll open channels that everybody around the world can come and explain what they have invented, and they know what they invented. If it's done by any of the Keshe Foundation manufacturing companies and anybody else, they'll get benefit by it. They don't need to patent it and get it stolen and spend all their life fighting for this their right. The second time round, we take man to space, but this time our way, not man's way. I advise the American administration strongly. I know you're listening, you're in all the teachings. Come to an agreement with President Xi in meeting in Japan this weekend, the process of peace and talk. We invite the American president to Tehran. As much as the American side, we invite Iranian leadership to the United States to seal the peace, and then with the others. You have to understand how this conflict with Iran started and what is behind it and what is causing it. It's the same as with Vietnam. It's the same as with Libya. It's the same as Yugoslavia. If you look at the pattern of war in past 100 years, there is no time that American government has not been in it. This behavior of this nation has to stop, It's my wish to change. And I said, if we have to force it, we'll keep you so busy inside. The floods you're receiving at the moment is nothing. You want me to wish you more. We didn't create a mayhem to kill. We gave you the water, which is the water of life. You don't know how to handle it. My ethos from Man of Universe, I kill with love. I don't kill with hate. I give so much that man cannot handle receiving it. How much more water do you want? Or do you want me to study it a little bit more that it keeps you more busy? Shaking this planet is a tip of a finger click. So I advise all nations to go back into peace. We invest to create peace. You got to understand what the collaboration of the Keshe Foundation with Bombard One means for the nations. There was a shout and howl by Western nations because they were losing their grip in a way that the West and most of the nations who go on the One Belt One Road of Chinese development of sharing everything is another way of colonization, and they're burdening the nations under debts. The collaboration between the Keshe Foundation and the Chinese One Belt One Road, now we create the wealth through our structure, through our work, through our industrial zone in the nation to be able to pay for what is the wishes of China to develop their nation. Not by borrowing anymore, but the wealth created inside the nation through One Belt One Road will give all the rights to the nation to start standing on their own leg, where the water you buy in the street pays for your education, the food you eat, which is better harvest than before, pays for the investment in your education. In a way, through the structure of building the Keshe Foundation industrial zones, we take the taxation out of the life of the man, where by what we supply as a pleasure of life will pay for expenses of life for each part of the planet's work. This way, the stigma which they put on One Belt One Road is washed out. We invest for you to develop. We invest for you to become proud of what you are. We invest to create jobs on the edge of science, and what is earned by our investment pays for your nation to become more comfortable, to have. As I said, we take no money out of no nation, but we are one nation, so the money can go where is needed to help and to develop. The structure of the Keshe Foundation, what I have set up, is the way the universe works, and better for man to learn faster. This is how we operate, and this is a try run for mankind to see how it's done. And this is how it will be. I thank you, all of you, for supporting, believing, and working for past years in different parts, in different ways to achieve this. And as I said before, I thank the whole of the Keshe Foundation worldwide, the Chinese, outside China, the administration of Chinese government, the American structure, the American government, the Iranian government, then all of us, the Saudi Arabians, the Indians, the British, the Germans, the Austrians, the Italians, the Ghanaians, every one of us have shown our weaknesses and our strengths as one nation, one foundation. And what I promised, I have delivered. But I hope mankind can carry this gift with what is my wish, to create peace. Thank you for all the time you spend in learning and teaching. And I thank the soul of mankind that now is maturing to the point of final destination, to become free from everything, all the shackles which he made for himself. Thank you very much. If there are any questions in relation to what we announced, I'm prepared to answer if I know the answer. If not, I might not answer because I think it's not the time to answer.
Mr. Kesh, well, first of all, your whiteboard's open there. I'm not sure if you know it's still, we've been watching just a
Yes, it
blank
stays
whiteboard
white.
for a while. Okay, that's
Yes,
good.
it
White is
there.
good.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Writing is
I have a question in regards to the international role of Canada and the way things are playing out on the world stage. Canada's in a sort of a strange position in between the US and China in a way, with this disagreement over the Huawei communications company and their the daughter of the head of the company being detained by Canada currently, and all of that, the extradition, the idea of extradition, which has also come up with Hong Kong recently in the relationship with China. I'm wondering what your opinion is, or how can that position be looked at differently, this idea of extradition. And we know that when you came into Canada, 10 years ago or whenever it was, you got detained for 11 days and were harassed and whatnot as a part of this similar process where it was a stopover flight. They take you off the flight and bingo, you're busted essentially, even though in both cases no laws in Canada were broken as far as I can tell. So but yet we're doing the bidding of the US in a way, but yet we have the ability to say no and stop the whole process at the same time. What would you advise in this, or give us some light on it?
We don't have advice. As I said, I've been there. I've walked the path, 11 days, fighting between the different forces. How they're going to take me out of the airport without anybody seeing me, keeping me awake 24 hours a day to disorientate you, taking me to a kangaroo court inside the airport or facilities, telling me if I talk, I'll be executed. This is Canada 8 years ago. We're not talking about last century. Canada has done a lot of wrong things to keep the Americans happy, and now they're happy because they got still an aluminium sold without, because they're going to put pressure on Iran. We've seen all these games. We see the same thing. As I said, we released the letter we received from our lawyer. You don't want to see what we have to release more in the coming days. The Belgian police has issued 3 months before this court case a warrant for me and Karen to be terrorists, and they took it to the Interpol. They took it to the Americans. The Americans laughed at them. Said, he's not a terrorist. We don't accept it. So they went back and they came up with medical reasons. In April, in March of 2014, after we escaped from Belgium without being killed, and they realized we have protection of Italians, the same police officer issued a false warrant as me being a terrorist in Caroline, took it to the Americans. Americans said, no way. So he changed the same court number, case number, to practicing medicine. They couldn't find out, so they were after something. We showed this one. This is one of the evidences in the court, how they switched because they couldn't get the criminal records. They couldn't get the terrorist. So they thought we don't have. But it's the same thing. The same people issued this warrant in America that I'm a terrorist, and I was stopped in international transport. Airports are international grounds. And they put me in the kangaroo court. We don't give you refugee. I didn't ask for refugee. You told me if I don't, you put me in. I'm already living in Europe. I don't need you. The problem with Canada is that you have to understand, and I've said it before, every day when they put me, they close one section of Toronto Airport, that all the American, European intelligence were sitting in the kiosk next door to me, sending a message to the guy who was interviewing me every day, 10, 12 hours. He said, I have to ask. Even the Prime Minister of Canada asked him a question, ask him this question. I said, what's this? He says, the Prime Minister. He's asking, you have to answer it. So it wasn't that the government didn't know. The Blackberry family knew, because they're family of the friend, they're friends of the family. They were told, don't touch. This is a illegal activity. We don't want anybody to know. So the government is aware of doing illegal. I have warned the Chinese government what's happening with Huawei. You got to understand the position of Huawei. The advanced technology like mine, now we've seen how we are backed by the Chinese. Very advanced. 10 years ago, you can imagine what these people couldn't even understand. Huawei is more or less in the same level, 10, 15 years ahead. They have taken the daughter as a bargaining chip, as a hostage. The rest is a game. And if the father does not give, they kill the daughter. That's all it is. That's what they did with me. With my sister across the glass sitting, and they put a gun to my head. You tell anybody he's executed, you won't see him. And my sister used to cry, don't kill him. The same father is crying, don't kill my daughter. I agree. They're after the stealing technology. This is the Huawei situation. They want the technology from Huawei, he's not giving it, they took the daughter. This is a bandit. You talk about what you call at high seas, this is airport. The same way. Americans have not changed their habits. British have not changed their habits. You know, half of the House of Lords in England, just go on their history, these are the people who stole on the high seas for Queen Victoria. The more you stole, the Queen gave you a knightship, you became a lord. Read the history of the British House of Lords. Queen Victoria increased the number of the House of Lords by those, we call them on the high seas, pirates. 70–80% of the House of Lords of England are pirates who Queen Victoria, who pirated from the Spanish on the high seas, they brought back, she gave them knighthood. Now the piracy is in the airports, and Americans and Canadians are working together. I'm not the only scientist. Huawei is not the only scientist. Many scientists have been hijacked by the Canadians in the airports, and the family don't talk because they've been told they'll be executed even if they live Canada. And they're such a chicken, they don't come out of it. The number of scientists hijacked by the piracy by the Canadians on behalf of the Americans, Belgians, French, and German is in hundreds, not Huawei and me only. This is the extent of piracy. They talk about stealing technology. Yes, Americans are stealing technology, not the Chinese. And up to now, I have given the same advice to the Chinese administration. Huawei family has to be protected. There is a solution, and the solution sooner or later will be discussed. The way I see, the way America has to be handled is very simple. No trade, close all the ports. We don't need no American goods. We don't need to sell America. Whatever Americans have ordered, we find between another 6.7 billion of us to use, and we cover the expenses. It won't be much. We don't need the American goods. Don't buy. You want to put the tariff, you want to create condition, no problem, you can do. We don't want to sell, and we don't want to buy. Zero trade with America, between European community and Japan and China will force America to join the human race. We are not, this tariff game keeping disturbances in the market is the wrong way to handle. When I don't want your food, I don't come to your restaurant. You can't have my money. When you're a customer I don't like, I don't accept you in my place. The Chinese government position as a leading nation has to be zero. We don't want to trade, we don't want to buy, we don't want to sell. Whatever the Americans have ordered from Chinese factories, Chinese government has to accept the responsibility to sell it to the rest of the world. And if there is no customer, storage will come handy one day. Zero trade. Zero trade with no condition will keep the factories in China running. Americans don't need. At the same time, American factories, farmers cannot export. We don't need. We'll find a solution. You remember when you were naughty in the class, what did the teacher do? Stood you in the corner. You cannot disturb, and they cannot disturb you. This is the only solution. Zero trade with any nation which does not conduct correct. Now we see with Iran. We see, what did they do? They stopped trading China. They took it to Mexico. They started tariffing Mexicans. This behavior doesn't stop because they are under such a heavy debts. They're trying to get to the National Bank of Iran. One of the requests of the American government from the Iranian government is you have to give us all the gold in central bank, otherwise we'll bomb. Now we disclose. This is another robbery which is in progress in the background. They want all the gold which sits in Syria too. We are not giving. No giving. No gold transfer from Iran or Syria into the American and British banks. Finished. This is part of the deal. He says we won't land any man because we'll bomb you till you give us the gold. That's all it is. Nuclear is excuse. We don't need nuclear. We announced many times. Iran does not need nuclear. We have a plasma space technology 100 times more powerful. We will not release gold of no nation, Mexico, Chinese, or anybody else. I sit in the boardrooms without them knowing. We listen to conversation. We listen to the whisper between the ear of the husband and wife in the bed pillow talk. We are that influential. Rothschild, I hope you enjoyed the message. So this American situation, you see what I did with Hillary Clinton. She was ordering day by day what they do with me in Canada. Destiny. She comes to Iran to talk peace. She finished diplomatically, politically with a brain damage. She created me a brain hemorrhage. She took it herself for life. Now imagine what we can do with the rest of the people who behave this way. Doesn't matter, Iranians, Americans, Germans, or whatever. I gave you some hints before. She touched me. She got touched. You touch Natanz, I touch you beyond. I don't need the Iranian army. My wish is my command. 1 to 1 million. You choose. You touch my cousins. I don't need to touch. I turn the earth against you. Have you had enough flood? Do you want more? You will swim all these ships to get into Texas and Dallas. That much water, I'll cover United States. Play the game. Canadians have played this stealing game of technology and benefiting by it a long time. It's not the first time. I'm not the only one, and how we capture is not the only thing. As I said, now they thought they win. Suddenly we get a letter from our lawyer, send us a blank letter, we sign it, and we write whatever we like. Yes, I accept all the guilt. I'm prepared to spend the prison sentence. Now you know why he's asking for a blank paper, don't you? It's a criminal offense, asking for a blank letter by a lawyer. It's an email, so it cannot be deleted. As I said, we run this case this time as is an international case in public. Nothing to be hid. And it's the same with the Huawei. The Canadians have stopped becoming or being part of pirates. It's a modern piracy in the airports. Now they can't be captured. The strange thing is, 2 days before she flies to Canada, they killed the most eminent Chinese scientist who was working with her because he would not give the information to the Americans. They killed him to tell to Huawei, we do the same with your daughter. Now you understand. I said in one of my recent talks, do you remember where they took all the, what they call terrorists in Cuba? Do you remember the prison they built? Guantanamo Bay? Canada has become the same for scientists and intellectuals used by the Americans. Don't tell me, I've been there 11 days. They emptied my suitcase, they printed everything, and they were so stupid they left half of what they printed in my suitcase. They were in such a hurry still. 11 days, they couldn't copy enough. There is still another child. They do their misconduct. At the moment, Canada is on the watch for stealing, being collaborator in stealing technologies. You will see it coming up very soon. China is not going to sit silent, and many other scientists. Canadian passport will be a dangerous passport to carry because nobody will give you entrance. Who are you planning to hijack and kill next time? This is what will come up, we will see. But the beauty of it is, the more they took, the more knowledge is getting spread. The Americans are after the technology of Huawei to bring their 5G forward. And the only way they tried to negotiate with the Chinese, they couldn't get it, now they kidnap the child. It's actually a kidnap, that's all it is. It's not an extradition. They're just putting in the look on it that is it's not an extradition, this is a hijacking, this is a piracy by two states. If I was Canadian Prime Minister, I'd release the grill straight away, because if the Chinese take the path of now understanding how many of other scientists have gone through the same, but they don't talk, yeah? Because they told them they kill their family in China, they kill their family in Europe, in America. So you give what you have. This is the bandit piracy by Canadians on behalf of the Americans and Europeans. It's not just Canada. Canada is a corner that nobody can reach, so we do whatever we like. I've been there, 11 days of it. When I walked off the plane, the officer says, Mr. Keshe, I've been waiting for you 3 days to speak to you. I said, I received my visa less than 24 hours ago. He said, oh, that was all planned to get you here. So they planned it. It's not coincidental. And my suggestion to the European nations who are part of the robbery and what are called piracy is very simple. Stop trading with the United States. Zero trade. We don't want to. You know, when you have a child you can't handle, you close your just go away. When you become following the rule of the family, you're welcome. I don't give you anything and I don't want anything. I still love you. United States has to go to a zero trade by all the nations. And China, as one of the richest nations, has to take the responsibility of setting a distribution that whoever has sold whatever to America cannot go bankrupt. We take over, we find a solution. There should be a structure set by the Chinese government as a world leading nation with a financial capability to find position. What happens now that we are getting rid of this, what we call the United States, the way we are going by floods or whatever else, to the companies who are selling to America? There is the company they were selling is gone and the earthquake is finished. What the company is going to do? Bankrupt? Or the government will find new market for you. We find a way that you don't lose. This is the correct conduct of a nation. This is what we advise. You don't need to create wars. You want to fight? I'm not a fighter. I'll walk away. And that's the only solution. Major nations, you expect to trade with China, you follow the international rules. Somebody is disobedient, none of us will deal with you. You know, when you're a naughty child, the whole family cuts you off till you change your behavior. When you're a drug addict, nobody lets you in any houses because you're a danger. You steal anything to feed your habits. America has become addictable to bombing and killing, so we don't want you. Do whatever you like. You carry arms, you're not allowed. You sell arms, you're not allowed. We have better things to do. In 1990s, Caroline and I, we used to work in Antwerp, in Belgium, and we came to know a very rich man who was art dealer. And he knew that my companies could afford buying or sorting out his massive wealth of art he collected over a lifetime. He took us to his house. I've seen the most exclusive things you can never imagine in his house. And he showed me the first time Iranian glassware, some 2,000-3,000 years ago. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Under the dust under the staircase. I said, what's this to you? He said, my children, because of my wealth, have become drug addicts. I want to sell everything before they sell it for a quarter, a tenth of a price to feed themselves with their habit. At least I know what I get for them. I spend a lifetime. And this is what we have with the human history now. We have saved the lifetime. We don't need to give it to these addicts who are selling it and spending it. They want to be the rulers. We need to save the humanity by our conduct, not by misconduct. And my advice has been to the Chinese administration, to Europeans. We do not want to trade. China-American trade is 1.5%. But when China stops all Apple's import to any commodity, any electronic system, American Apple company needs, cannot go from China, Apple will collapse. Half of the Walmart cannot trade. Do you know that 100% of all the curtains American use comes from China? Not a single curtain is produced in the United States anymore. And I'm sure 200 million houses, Chinese can find to give free gift every day. The factory can do, or half price, to 1.4 billion Chinese and the Europeans and the others to put the curtain up and still keep the factories going. We do not need the trade with United States. We do not need trade with Iran. We do not need trade to any nation which creates conflict. Because when we don't trade, we don't boycott. I don't want goods. That's all it is. We don't damage them. It's for them to find a solution for themselves. Now, what do we do with the Canadians? Very simple. First of all, we are claiming damages against the Canadian government. What they've done with me 11 days, threatening to kill. Ex-Canadian Prime Minister has to stand judgment in the court. The gentleman, the officer, his name is released, all his ranking is released, for threatening to kill has to carry a life sentence. We'll get him. I have all his detail. I know where he eats nowadays. With his Dutch wife. Do you want to know more? We don't let people just walk away. If I know what's happening in governments, I know what's happening in the guy's home. So what are we going to do with Huawei? Americans claim the Chinese are stealing, but they have opened the Guantanamo Bay and they're hijacking on the high seas of the airlines. That's why they want a list of passengers. Everybody thought the American want a list of terrorists. No, they're looking which scientists are on which flight. How can we do what we can steal? What is the process? How much is value? Mr. President Trump, Keshe Foundation in my name, worth trillions now. I have backing up tens of billions by a nation, and in your nation will raise more. How are you going to hijack me? How much do you want to be paid for my head? Now, my life wasn't for my science. Now, we have a financial value. Most probably become one of the richest men in the world. But in the name of the Keshe Foundation. And for Keshe Foundation. So, what do we do? What is the next time I'm afraid to get on the airline that I get hijacked by the Americans or the Canadians or I know the Belgians or whatever? The announcement today is a nightmare for Belgian government, asking for a letter unsigned by a lawyer and now receiving finance to finance factories in massive scale around the world. I'm a criminal fraud for 12,000 euro, worth 12 billion euro, sir. We bring the King of Belgium to justice. Both ex-king and the present king will disclose later on. My problems with the British regime started when Philip went and saw the technology. I'll give you all the paperwork. Prince Philip, King Philip, good morning. You got the message. The father, the like the son. The day, that time Prince Philip came to the company where I was developing the space technology with the Belgians, my problems started. The plan of stealing started from the day. We have a date, we know which day, and all his data can show he was in the company. And 2 weeks later, the company was sold for millions to the British. They said, we have the technology, we have the key, but they didn't have. And the British government, what do you call, bought the lie. There is a lot to be released in what has happened around Keshe Foundation in my life. I devoted my life to man to bring peace. Now we have found a partner. We can keep, we carry on, nothing changes. I still eat the same bread and I still sleep in the same bed and I still love the same things with my children and life which comes with it. But we know what's happening. What's going to happen with Canada? It's not only Canada. There are 2 other countries which are stealing, hijacking scientists too. I released those in the time it comes. Many top scientists, Islamic top scientists, are stolen in Hajj in Saudi Arabia. When people go for pilgrimage, they're now pronounced dead when they don't give the technology. Now you want to know what's happening in the Islamic side? Welcome. There are 2, 3 pirate places like this. It's not just Canada. We saw Iranian scientists disappearing. How come only Saudi we see leading Arab nation scientists suddenly dead or they disappear when they go for Hajj to see their God? they meet their God in the real physical condition of death. Do you want me to tell you more? In time. And ask who they learned it from the same people who sell them arms. I think President Trump must have had a shock in us explaining what they did in Iran past week. But is that right? They had to find that their citizen doesn't get damaged, but it's a game of chess game they play. And they thought, now we got the upper hand, we can do what we like, we threaten, we're gonna flatten, they're gonna be President Trump. I advise you, don't touch Iran. Come to peace, find peace, because Iran is within me. And I don't like a heartache. Touch me. You know my son called Christ, he said, I ran eye to her too. Let's talk peace. Find a solution. You think you got the upper hand, but don't forget there is a second technology you have no access to. That's your nightmare, not what you captured. Man in a time of win becomes humble, not arrogant. And this wasn't humbleness we saw. This arrogance which has no room. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
I think I made it clear to your government, huh?
Well, something needs to be done because the rules are just too arbitrary, it seems. Who gets stopped, who doesn't
There is no
get
rule
stopped.
since when the hijackers had a rule.
Well, that's
rule.
right. When do pirates have rules?
Not a rule. We don't get it, you walk the plank. No, you don't get it, you become a terrorist.
They don't even have rules among themselves. So yeah. But
you see,
there is a
you have
certain
to
pirate's
understand.
code.
Yeah. Let me explain to you something very important. What President Trump is after. This, in a way, is a good way. President Trump is a financier in building, in construction. That's where he's made his money. When we negotiated with Obama, we negotiated an industry. Boeing, IBM. Look at the offices of these government countries, these companies from America who were in Iran. While America pushed the European and other nations, nobody can negotiate with Iran, sign any contract. All the American big companies had their officers in Iran negotiating. They signed memorandum of understanding with the Iranians. By the time Obama withdrew that everybody can negotiate, when the Europeans went in, everything was signed by the Americans. Nobody knows this. So Boeing took all the deals, Airbus couldn't get much. Peugeot came with the idea of, okay, we give our old machinery to Iran, they can do something, at least France has got some access. And they found out the Americans have looted everything. It's one of the reasons they don't go with America now. This time, you have to understand, Trump is the construction man. He wants all the construction deals in Iran to his companies in name of his children and other organizations he has. He's extensively involved in India now. Now you understand why building of the wall suddenly becomes secondary. Now they think they're going to win. He wants all the building contracts in Iran through his companies. That's all it is. This is a personal money gaining system. Nobody knew this, now you understand. Iran, you have to understand the position of change of Iran. In 1972, in 1990s, Iran income 90%, 95% was from oil. Today, Iran's national income, 30%, 35% is from oil. That's why Iran is, they say Iran is suffering. Yes, there is some problem. But the Iranians have changed. They invested the money into industry. Huge aluminium, chemicals, chemical plants, everything. That's how they try to tell people Iran is crippling. Yes, we need some things, but Iran has moved from oil industry to industrial industry. Oil counts for less than 30-35%. That's why we can stand it. Now, what Trump administration, his family, and the Israelis are after are the construction contracts. And one of the reasons they stopped the steel from Iran and they went to Canada, because now they want to use the steels once they come to Iran for the building construction work which they want to carry. The game is very open to us. It wasn't that they put a boycott on Iran. They want the steel in Iran. They want to make another Paris, whatever, out of Iran, but this time owned by Trump's family. It's colonization by family. We are aware of what's going on. It's not so simple. Actually, it's that simple that that is stupid to be simple. The threat of bombing Iran brings with it Russia into game. It brings other nations into game. There are Russian officers in Iranian nuclear power station built by them. You kill a Russian, they said if it was one American in the plane, they would have done no loss, no life loss. Do you think the Russians are going to sit on American killing them? The game is much bigger than the blocks played. Don't forget, there is something you have to understand about the psychology of man. The biggest casinos in America and around the world, in so many ways, are owned by Trump and his family. He's a gambler, he's a poker player. I call a bluff. If I win, I take. But this time we call this bluff. Good morning, Mr. Trump. You're dealing with God, not the man on the street. You play the game. Peace is the only alternative. We want peace across the planet, not just in one place or two. Very direct. You never find a man to speak so direct because I have the power to do it.
Mr. Keshe, I have a question regarding the idea of Armageddon, and it seems to be ingrained into the background mentality of some of the individuals on probably both sides of the coin of conflict, and that seems to be powering some conversations. They're actually looking forward to this time when there's mass upheaval, chaos, and bombs falling and fire from the air and all that kind of stuff, fire and brimstone.
Oh, we don't need that. We don't need that. The Americans have brought it because it's there for them to do. They think they can. They bombed Vietnam. Trust me, they lost Vietnam. They joined Yugoslavia. You remember? They lost. Who won? Because the Eastern Bloc is under Russian control.
Yeah, but it's part of the. I'm thinking more of maybe it's more of a religious thing, where it's part of the prophecies of the Bible or of the various other religions besides the Bible also have these concepts of.
We're always being frightened from things not to do, and the end will come. Now we know the end is in our soul.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get to. It's misinterpreted as it has to be the end of all the physicality world and so on, but it's an internal process. It's the breakdown of our conditioning and of our ideas that we kept about war and so on for the last millennia. It's being dissolved now. It's a different scene.
You see, there is something very interesting. You have to learn to listen. You have to learn to listen. in talk with last week that I did not agree to kill 150 people, civilians. Listen to the word civilians, people. There is thousands of military people in these camps. They are not counted. You understand? So to him, as a gambler, thousands of Iranian soldiers in these bunkers do not count. He talks about 150 lives, civilians. People have not listened. People have to learn to listen. And so in that process comes a lot of understanding. I gave a lot of warning because what they were planning, what they were doing, we hear from them while they're planning it. We sit inside them. American administration is going crazy how much we know in their movement, the same with Iran. Because the life of a man is a voice box of his soul. You do not need to be to hear. And the sooner the man understands this, the easier it becomes the job to get done. I want to know how many Americans will be in Iran, how many Europeans will be in Iran signing new contracts for new development and construction. Trump family and his cronies, they're all sitting waiting. Negotiation is you pay with the gold from Iranian central bank. British were happy with the oil. And then we see what's happening. Refineries one by one burning and damaging because they cannot sell the oil the government has given them and it's damaged them. They have to burn it to get the insurance money. Now we blame Iran. We are very aware of what's going on. Today is to celebrate the peace with a great peace. We haven't started it and we start financing it. And I hope the American administration here might heed the same as the Iranian. Get off your back horses and start talking and find a solution for the arrogance, not for the nation. You got to understand Americans were so happy they go to the G20 and they say we have access to all the Iranians, we're gonna force them. They didn't know we already know and it's already shared. It's very much, if you look at it, you know, the British found the box where the Germans were sending in messages and they start decoding once they found the box. You know which one I'm talking about? The name of, what do you call it? The name of the box, the communication box in the Second World War. The situation in Iran was the same thing. Last week they found out the decoding box, but that part of it. And don't forget the Iranians are very busy to change the code as the rest. And immediately they announced we're going to have a cyber attack. Yeah, the Enigma box. This sudden announcement of the cyber attack is only because they had that plane they found out. You see, if Iran would have shot the other plane 25, they said the Americans have been killed. Now we have an excuse to go in. But they put that for them to say this was a Trojan box. In a way, if you understand what it means, this drone. They wanted to test what they learned with the Mason. Because they found out how it's done, but they couldn't get it. Now they send the second one and they thought. But there's a very bad news. It's like when you play poker, you gotta know which card to call. Iran called for 2 cards at the beginning of the game. You called 1 card down. Second one can reach Washington in no time. this is what we're trying to avoid, creating peace. A lot of people don't like the way I talk, but that's the only way it is, that they all know there is no hidden games. Nothing is hidden, we see all of it. Any other question?
We have a hand up with Dean here. Go ahead, Dean.
Hello, Mr. Cash.
Hello. Where are you
f-
from? Dean?
Sorry, I'm Dean from the UK.
Yeah.
Just to lighten the note a little bit. All this information has been quite staggering, but I'd just like to lighten it just a little bit, because I had an experience that I've not disclosed before. Because
I
I
don't
don't
want
think
to know today.
you don't want to know today.
What do you have to know? Not next time. What do you want to know about today?
Like today. My question would be then about flying to the moon. And that was what my experience was about.
The position with the new advanced technology is that nobody needs to be astronaut. You don't need any training. The new space development is that you are part of the structure, if you want to go physical, with like everything else, in creating 1G inside the system. You are like getting on a jet plane. You know, the olden days you used to do this and that to become a pilot, to get on a plane and do whatever, and now we had to be the astronaut. It's past, it's obsolete. So when you travel with 1G, none of us have said many times, you don't go a class for, it's not like learning driving, huh? There's a guy who knows how to drive, or how to fly, we call it the pilot, and 200 of us get in the same box. And don't change anything. We go with the same summer clothes, somebody gets with the winter clothes, and at the end we all get up and go wherever we like. The new space technology is the same.
When will this happen?
We're giving a guarantee to the Chinese government 12 months from signing of the contract. We are waiting for them to decide. They are deciding.
Okay.
We need to set up the research center, and whatever we have promised to the Chinese government, we have come up with. That's why they support us.
And can this be for the normal man on the street as well?
What do you mean? This is for the man on the street.
Okay, so
at the beginning it'll be very interesting. You know, all the celebrities want to go to the moon. Nobody's been there. All the generals want to go there. You know, when they do capturing or do something, you know, they build something new. All the top guys want to be there. We achieved it. We'll have that for a few months, and then man on the street will pay $56 to go to the moon. Also, a lot of them go free because we get enough profit that we don't need to get paid.
that sounds good.
It's
I
not
think,
simple. It's a reality which will come.
well, that sounds even better. I think mankind's been waiting for this for a long time.
We came to deliver.
Thank you. Mr. Kesh, I'd just like to say as well, I'd like to thank you and your family for all that you've gone through for us, for humanity. It's been quite amazing what you've actually gone through and what you've shown to the world. And I would like to thank you from my soul for what you've done. I truly thank you.
We have started a new journey with the support of the most powerful nation on this planet, under the basis of creating wealth, on the basis of our knowledge cannot be used to harm no one, and on the basis of changing life for all of us. Any other question? I prefer to close the day today if it's not, because we have talked a lot about peace and what is to happen. And please, those of you who understand, separate the part where we explain how the Americans think they're superior to the news around the world. We've done these things before, put on your YouTube, and how the Americans' drone was used. That there is no upper hand in negotiations, humbling the condition to know. And my advice to the American administration is very, very clear. Do not touch my ancestral ground. I'm very touchy with that. Any other question?
Well, if it's your wish that we end now, then the questions can be.
I think it'll be too nice to go out with the same tape as was shown by Stanley, that we all understand the gravity of what has been achieved. And I thank again the Chinese Keshe Foundation team. I thank the Chinese government and administration, especially our negotiating team on the Chinese side. They are very, very loyal to the nation. They are very strong, powerful people. And it's nice to work with them. I've seen some of them in my own young time, but they are devoted to the nations. They are not concerned about anything financial. They are devoted what will bring to the nation. And it's nice to work with young people like this. And thanks to all of you, especially all the people in running the Keshe Foundation. We ran a lot of harsh time in the past year, but it was two choices: just to help a few Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers and supporters, or change the course of humanity. And I think we all agree it was the right way to do it. Thank you very much. Goodbye for today. Stanley, if you could take us out, and we can play whatever you like after that, please.
The knowledge of the universe is part of us. It was given to every being as we are part of the Creator, and the Creator is us. The Keshe Foundation was created to become an oasis of universal knowledge and the place where the science meets the soul of man. Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, the founder and director of the Keshe Foundation, has set humanity on the path of peace, teaching us all that there are sufficient and abundant resources available to everyone without the need for abuse of other beings for the benefit of one. It all started with one man and his comprehensive research, shared within smaller groups of people at the Keshe Foundation Center, and soon expanded to an entire community of knowledge seekers working in the direction of peace. In 2014, following the nuclear disaster in Fukushima, a complete blueprint teaching is released, information on how to decontaminate radioactive environments. Live broadcast of the decontamination is made from an independent laboratory in Japan, proving that the technology works. In 2015, Magrav's blueprint teachings bring to life the possibility of harvesting plasma fields that are found freely in the environment as continuous sources of energy needed for space travel. The Peace Blueprint, Spaceship Blueprint, and Agriculture Blueprints follow. KFSSI education has expanded since to teachings in over 18 languages, spreading the new Keshe plasma science and technology to every corner of the world. Keshe Foundation Wikipedia was created and is building up with the support of the community. The first plasma science journal that accepts Keshe plasma scientific papers without peer review became a part of the monthly Keshe Foundation publication, KF Plasma Times, already reaching its 12th edition in June 2019. All this time, Mehran Keshe has openly invited all the world's governments to join the Keshe Foundation in the ethos of peace and equality to learn the path to the universal community. The Keshe Foundation Manufacturing Austria, active since 2017, has been working closely with the Chinese Research Center. World-leading plasma scientists with intrinsic motivation work around the clock with their heart and soul to develop and improve the plasma products. Research and development in Austria confirm the power of the Keshe plasma technology and encourages the team to follow the vision to be a valuable part of the worldwide network of communities with the aim of establishing peace on Earth through the benefits of Keshe plasma technology. The research and results presented in the past months confirm the correctness of the technology, which cannot be ignored. In China, high-scale trials have been conducted and validated for their results. In October 2018 in China, the processing of diabetes was brought to the public, where the person's eye could not open and the diabetic wound on the leg would not close for 3 months. In only 6 weeks, with GANS plasma processing, diabetes was reversed, and with it, the eye and leg wounds recovered as well. In China, the agricultural trials showed an early maturing time of wheat processed with GANS water. The rice, millet grains, beans and corn processed with GANS water showed an increase in size and higher resistance to plant diseases. The end of 2018 revealed the success in processing African swine fever using Kesh plasma technology in China. In November 2018, the first pig in China was processed, saving its life after months of suffering. The second case involved 30 pigs that recovered entirely. The third case in China consisted of 829 pigs that had confirmed from the laboratory blood tests as being infected with African swine fever. The pigs were dying until the research team intervened and started the GANS plasma processing, saving 725 pigs and bringing them back to a healthy condition in only 7 days. All the work that has been done by the Kesh Foundation teams has the purpose of bringing humanity in line with the universal community, to be able to travel the space of the universe, to be able to handle defense systems in deep space, to be prepared for any unpredicted situations, and to be able to sustain a healthy and comfortable life during space exploration. After all these years of hard work, the Kesh Foundation is proud to invite you all today to celebrate, as knowledge seekers, the long-awaited milestone. It is a day when we make history. It is the day that many generations after us will remember as the day the future of humanity changed. These undoubted successes worldwide and in China have brought the Kesh Foundation a partnership with the most powerful nation in the world, the Chinese nation, establishing the first joint company in partnership with Chinese government organizations under the name Kesh GANS Technology. The new company, which is financed by the Chinese government organizations, has a registered capital of 100 million euros, an invested capital of 1 billion euros for building the first Kesh Foundation industrial zones in China. Furthermore, by written agreement, the Chinese partnership has made available billions of dollars for total development and commercialization of the technology in China. Kesh Foundation, as equal 50% partner in the established company, will provide the technology and the science, while all the financial, economic and political support will be provided by the Chinese partners. This is to start the construction of the Kesh Foundation industrial zones in China. Each industrial zone will provide all that a nation requires according to its location and needs. The clear proof of technology has brought the leading nation of the world to back and finance every aspect needed to spread and commercialize Kesh plasma science and technology in China and worldwide. The state-of-the-art construction of the Kesh Foundation industrial zones provided by the Chinese nation will include the development and application of every aspect of the Kesh GANS technology, with GANS manufacturing facilities and the addition of technological divisions needed by the nation, including agriculture, health, decontamination, energy, transportation, and space travel, etc. It is the wish of the Chinese leadership to spread the wealth and expertise of the Chinese nation to other nations of the world through the One Belt One Road initiative of His Excellency President Xi of China. Kesh Foundation, with its technology and its industrial capabilities, which are now financed by China, will support the initiative of the President in delivering the same to other nations through the cooperative between Kesh Foundation China and the One Belt One Road program. With this joint collaboration of the Kesh Foundation Technologies and One Belt One Road initiative, nations will not be burdened with debt. Instead, this alliance will bring to the nations the possibility of growth and development equally via the One Belt One Road initiative through science, commerce and education. As this announcement is being made, a number of countries are in negotiation and a memorandum of understanding is being signed with Kesh Foundation for this purpose, leading to the construction of industrial zones in their region. The Kesh Foundation, in conjunction with the Chinese partners as financing arm, was setting up the Center of Excellence in China for scientists from all around the world. There will be up to 5 main research centres outside China, and at the same time China has become the centre of excellence for space technology. The initial structure is established to bring the most eminent world scientists to expand the Keshe Foundation plasma technology. There are no limitations on the financial side from the Chinese partners as long as we bring new technologies, new sciences and new applications for peace. This is the peace dividend. There is no need for any nations to spend money on arms for killing, but there will be sufficient financial backing for saving lives and developing new technologies. In the coming months, Keshe Foundation industrialization will expand beyond anyone's imagination. Most nations will become food secured at national level and will be able to produce their own products, their own materials. New industrial machinery for the Keshe plasma technology is to be developed in China, bringing a new cycle of jobs to produce systems that allow farmers to achieve large-scale production in agriculture. We will build and achieve the same systems for environment, medicine, transportation, space and materials. We are opening the doors to the new science, and thanks to the Office of His Excellency President Xi of China, the Keshe Foundation has been given the opportunity to move forward. A new industrial revolution is here. This is now becoming possible as the Keshe Foundation received a powerful ally in China, standing alongside the true knowledge and supporting further developments to bring a prosperous and fearless life to humankind. We are looking forward to making one nation in structure by spreading knowledge and technology. As one structure, we are very powerful because for the first time the power of changing our lives, looking after our health, looking after our agriculture, looking at the clean water, looking after our shelter is in our hands. The change is here. The change is now. Celebrate with us the new beginning for mankind. Keshe Gans Technologies Limited.